are the characteristics of a true leader for your community? He says he must be the wisest one, the most knowledgeable one, the bravest one, the justest one, the most pious one. These great characteristics that human beings are leaning towards that. Nobody says just money, because of the power, because of the relations that these people have with the others, so he can get the power. But you see, the scholars were deviating the religion in a way that they were going to Minbar and giving this decree and changing the decree of Allah, saying this ulul amr means this. But they never said this ulul amr must be in the way that those other actually words before that have, the characteristics before that. What are they? Ati'ullah, you must be ilahi, you must be divinely. Ati'ur Rasul, the Prophet is like this. Prophet is gaining the power through these deceitful acts. Never ever. This was one deviation. Deviation through ulama. Imam al-Baqir came and started the cultural fight. The situation was so dark, so black. You know, he himself says, we were inviting the people, but they were not coming to us and following us. إن دعوناهم لم يستجيبوا لنا وإن تركناهم لم يهتدوا بغيرنا. We didn't know what to do exactly with these people. If we called them and we invited them towards us, they were not fulfilling our requests towards them. They were not accepting our invitation. And if you leave them, and if you leave these people, they will not be guided and led except they follow us, except we actually invite them. Without us, they will not be guided actually. So, you know, what a perplexing condition is that? Confusing condition is that? If you invite them, they are like this. And if you leave them, they are like that. It's not possible to gather all of them together. These are the people. Then Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam starts a cultural, intellectual fight. That is a fight, brothers and sisters. It's not just murmuring the words, reciting Quran and Hadith. It's not like that. Actively, Imam Baqir alayhi salam and his secret companions, like Jabir ibn Yazid Ju'fi, Fudayl ibn Yasar, you know, because that was very bleak situation and very dark, and there was strong and harsh dogmas against the Ahl al-Bayt actually. So they had actually secret companions like Jabir ibn Yazid Ju'fi and Fudayl ibn Yasar. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam came, he educated and trained students and pupils. So go to the community and reveal the true face of the arrogant. Reveal the true face of the arrogant. Brothers, sisters, nowadays some people do not dare to recite those ayahs that are against the arrogance of the time. Even the criteria, even the very ayah, let alone considering and revealing the true faces, the right faces of the people who are, for example, on power right now. Giving the examples. Who is the right person? Who is the wrong person? Imam Baqir alayhi salam in Mecca, in the jalsa and the session that was held by Abdul Malik, and Imam was invited by him to the Damascus and Sham, started a great fight against that, speaking out loud, telling, you are the wrong ones, we are the right ones. You are inviting to the people to you yourself, you are inviting to the Satan, to Shaitan, and we are inviting to ourselves. It means that we are inviting to Allah. This is the meaning of Ati'ullah wa Ati'ur Rasul wa ulil amr minkum. The second deviation was a deviation by the rulers. The rulers. How? How the rulers started deviation. Sometimes they were not scholars, they were not jurisprudence, for example, or they were, but they added to that type of deviation by scholars and the ulama of that time another type of power, deviating power, which was themselves actually. The scholars started this. The rulers started this type of deviation. How? Like for example, Hajjaj. Hajjaj was one of the commanders of Abdul Malik. He believed that Khilafah is more important than the Nubuwwah, the prophethood. Caliphate is more important than the Nubuwwah. Why? Because he wanted to penetrate and to empower, to strengthen the power of Khilafah, to say that this Abdul Malik is the right person. If he says, for example, Nubuwwah is right, is better, is more important than Khilafah, then how can he strengthen the pillars of the monarchy of Abdul Malik? It was not possible. If he says Nubuwwah is more important, then he has to believe that the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'minin is more important. And this is a sequence. Consequently, he has to believe that the wilayah and imamah of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam is more important. That is why they just justify. The doors of justification is open. You can translate this ayah the other way. You can translate this ayah the way you want and desire. The true way and the fake way. The wrong way actually, okay? This is the second deviation. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam comes to the field and starts a battle. What type of a battle is that? First, uncovering the real face of the arrogance. In a session that was gathered by Abdul Malik in, let's say, Sham and Damascus, he invited Imam al-Baqir and Ja'far ibn Muhammad, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, his son, by force. He dragged them there actually, and he invited all the elites of the community there in order to belittle Imam Baqir alayhi salam. He actually meant two powers, two actually goals for this invitation. He invited Imam there so that he belittles Imam. If he belittles Imam, then he desires to decrease the self-confidence and question and eliminate the self-confidence of Imam alayhi salam. Second, he is going to nullify the other oppositional powers. Those powers, for example, inside and outside the country and the territory of Abdul Malik, maybe they were rising, and he was saying that, okay, look, this is the Alawid, the strongest enemy of me. I'm going to belittle him. Then you cannot be coming against me and rising against me. If Baqir and Sadiq cannot stand against me, you cannot. He meant this one actually. Any type of session he held actually, and he gathered the elites of the community to test Imam al-Baqir. For example, the session that he was going to test the military power of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, throwing an arrow by a bow, for example, and in that session Imam Baqir hit the target, hit the nail on the target exactly to the actually center of the targets, and the story you know about that. It was to belittle Imam Baqir alayhi salam, but it became upside down. It became vice versa. This session was the same. When Imam Baqir alayhi salam entered the session, what happened there? He was going to belittle Imam Baqir, but Imam Baqir, without calling this Abdul Malik Amir al-Mu'minin, because it was really common to call this person the commander in faith, the commander of the faithful. Even they were Bani Umayyah, even they were Bani al-Abbas, this was very common. But Imam Baqir alayhi salam, without taking permission, he sits somewhere in the session, and without calling him Bani al-Abbas, the flames of jealousy rises in actually other people, and especially and the flames of anger rises in Abdul Malik. He's going to belittle, he's saying to Imam al-Baqir, you are inviting all the people to you yourself, and you are segregating the ummah, causing separation and conflict, and causing disunity among the ummah. You are the ones, you are the imam of disunity. It shouldn't be like that. Invite the people to unity. But Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam points to all of them and says, you are the wrongdoers, and starts to introduce himself with a strong self-confidence. This is actually depicted in the history actually. He is uncovering the real savage and arrogant face of these rulers of Bani Umayyad. And he is going to introduce himself, nullifying the negative ones and approving the positive side of the reality. When you're just saying this is bad, brothers and sisters, you have to say the right one, an alternative one. You have to introduce an alternative for the negative one, okay? Because if this is the wrong one, then who is the right one? Okay? Nowadays, unfortunately, people in the world, many of us, many of the Shia followers, are not working intellectually. I mean, they are not telling the people the factors, the criteria. The criteria even. Recite the ayahs of Quran. Say Ulul Amr. Ulul Amr is the right Khalifa that should be characterized as the real follower of Rasulullah and Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. He should be divinely. Second, if you are the follower of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, and you saw, for example, you say, okay, the situation is so dark, and there is dogma, political dogma, and there is propaganda against Shia, we cannot work. You can at least be Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi, a secret follower of and companion of Imam al-Zaman nowadays. You have to work intellectually. You have to say exactly what is the right president, what is the right leader in the whole world, on earth, throughout the world, and what is the wrong one, what is the arrogant type of president in the world, through the criterion, through the intellectual criterion, through the scriptural criterion. You read the history for this one. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam is not just murmuring the words and reciting and quoting and narrating the hadith of, I don't know, Amir al-Mu'minin and Prophet. He's starting a fight in a way that he endangers his own life. In the very session that Imam Baqir alayhi salam said and grasped on the situation and the reality of the monarchs and the arrogant rulers of Bani Umayyad, Abdul Malik actually transferred him to the jail. And in jail, even in jail, Imam Baqir alayhi salam started actually propagating the reality of Islam, Quran, the splitter of knowledge he was. And he was producing a type of propaganda against and propagation against the Abdul Malik. So this was the reality of the cultural influence and movement of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam that was started by him, and this continued to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and after that continued to Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. The second aspect, which was very important, crucial and significant, brothers and sisters, that we have to do it too. Because when we talk about the life of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, we recite the ayat al-Quran and the traditions, there must be a lesson for us. If you don't take lesson so that practically we do something in our real world, then it's nonsense, it's meaningless. What is the benefit behind remembering the history in the past? What is the benefit behind that? The century has passed, the history has passed, 14 centuries ago has passed. We have to know the Imam of our time. We have to know that Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi of our time. Jabir is dead, is martyred. But who is the Jabir of the time? Who is the Muslim of the time? We have to recognize them first and introduce them to the other people. We have to recognize the enemies of Allah today, exactly who they are. Which country, which president, which ruler, which king is the right one, which one is the wrong one, and introduce it to the other people. This is the job of and the mission of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam and his secret actually companions. The second one is this: to make an organization. We told you at the beginning of our discussion, the era of Imam Baqir alayhi salam was the era of intellectual and organizational construction. So the first of them was to fight against the deviations and to start and motivate the people against them, and to know the real khulafa and the caliphs of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Who is the real ulul amr? Who is the real person in authority on behalf of Rasulullah and Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala? But that's not enough. Sometimes you throw seeds, just I give an example. Sometimes you throw seeds to the lands. It's a deserted land. It's a fertilizing land. It's a land with a fertilizing soil, for example, and there is water in that. Sometimes the land is okay, and the seed is growing and is planted there, and it becomes, for example, a vegetable, a tree, or whatever. But it is on the path of the people, pedestrians, walking. Then they face the stampede of the pedestrians, actually. So if it becomes, for example, a vegetable or a green plant or a tree, for example, they don't let the walking of the people, the feet of the people will not let that to grow up. But Imam, with the help of the organization, with the help of and the assistance of his secret companions, made an organization. He threw the seeds of the wheat to a land that was going to improve and develop completely. It becomes a tree. If you do your job without intellectuality, without organization, without right political approaches, then your movement will be suffocated. The movements that were done at the time of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, the Qiyam of Tawabin, the Qiyam of Muslim, all of them were suffocated. Why? Because they did not make their movements intellectually. That is why Imam Baqir alayhi salam says to Jabir Yazid Ju'fi, don't say you are from Medina, for example. Do not reveal your real identity to the people, to the elites of the community, so you can work on that. This is taqiyya. This is the reservation that we have in our religion, actually. Intellectually and organizationally developing your ideology. Imam Baqir, the source of knowledge, Jabir ibn Yazid, Fudayl ibn Yasar, and the secret companions, because of that bleaked, dark, full of propaganda situation and condition, that were so obsessed with and filled with propaganda and boycotts of the Bani Umayyads, starts to educate and train students and pupils, and they make a network with the other students and pupils in a way that from Hijaz to Khurasan, Imam Baqir alayhi salam had students and pupils. Educating the students was started from the time of Imam Baqir alayhi salam. And it continued to Imam during actually maybe from 95 AH, Arab date, to 114 Arab date, Hijri, actually lunar date, actually, lunar year. It was about 19 years of the Imamah of Imam Baqir alayhi salam. During 19 years, he started educating and training people, making organization. Not only he was fighting, he himself, but he was training and educating the others too. But politically, not with a right policy, not, for example, grasping on himself or telling to the people that I am this one, I am that one, and introducing his Jabir and the secret companions to the other people. No, no, no. He was about to have reservations sometimes. He was about to save the life of himself and the companions of himself too. If he was going to reveal the real identity of his followers, then their life would be at risk and endangered. Then organization is so important too. We have to work in teams. We have to make organizations all around. And through these organizations, we make networks. Here in Iran, we make networks. We make networks together in different parts of the world. You are in India, you are in the United States of America, you are in Africa. Through the media that we have in our hands, actually, we can make networks actually to reveal the true face of the real followers of Ahlul Bayt first, the real leaders of faith and piety, and the commanders, the real commanders of faith, and also to reveal the real face of the arrogant ones. This organization is so important. Through this one, we can, inshallah ta'ala, shorten the path of actually reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Otherwise, this path will be lengthened and will become long and long. Otherwise, unless we work in network and work intellectually to spread the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt through a cultural fight, inshallah. Thank you for listening. This live program was aired and shown to you from the holy shrine of Imam al-Ra'uf, the kind and benevolent Imam Ra'uf Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam, from the city of Mashhad, Khurasan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you and dedicate you the long life with izzah, inshallah. And all of you and all of us be the real soldiers and followers of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, and all of us understand, be present in the time of his utopia. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin. Iltimas du'a.